Welcome to the Popcorn Talk Network, for the online broadcast network that features movie discussion, news, and interviews. Press 1. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies.
From the Popcorn Talk Network, the online broadcast network for movie talk, and the schmoes know, this is Guilty Movie Pleasures. In-depth discussion on movies, no matter how guilty they make you feel.
Oh, what is up, Guilty Movie Pleasure fans? We are back for yet another week of Guilty Movie Pleasures, and this week, probably one of the guiltiest ones we've done here, because we are talking Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters.
Ah, yes.
Ja, und Hansel and Gretel, they go and they take out this time when they go to this candy house, they find this ugly old witch, looks like from Evil Dead, and they hunt her. And since the rest of the movie, they keep hunting. I don't know why.
The witch needs a makeover.
The witch, nobody in the movie talks like this, but
The sheriff What's-His-Butt does a little bit.
Peter Stormare just always talks like that.
Yeah, he does.
Everything I talks kind of like this.
Can you give us a Scottish accent, sir?
Like this. Yeah, so Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunter was hotly requested by several of our fans.
So many.
Including Millennium Falcon. God damn, I need to start writing down everyone's handles. I'm gonna look up who it was on here. It's on our YouTube, so.
I believe it was follower on Twitter.
Millennium Falcon fan. And
it was on
Brian
Twitter?
Hurst, and it was on YouTube. Everybody,
Oh, well,
but a
Lord.
lot of people have been. It's fine.
Yeah.
Millennium Falcon. More to your screen name. We appreciate it. You've been talking about this for a while. You've been begging for this, and so have a few other people have been mentioning Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters. And I had actually seen this in theaters. I snuck into it. Don't tell the movie chain, but I snuck into it after Bullet to the Head with Sylvester Stallone.
Okay.
And I snuck into it with 3D glasses, meaning I just grabbed them out of the bin and went back in.
Oh.
So I wiped them off.
Oh.
But I didn't get
Wait, the real D or the arc light?
No, like the real D, like...
So you pulled them out of the bin. Is like the bin, like the trash can look-alike bin.
It's a trash can lookalike bin, yeah. But hey, it was free. It was free. Free 95. That's what I like to say. And I gotta admit, when I saw it in theaters, it could have been that it was killing time for traffic. Like it was either sit in traffic or see Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters, or Hansel, I should say.
It's the Hansel.
And I had a fun time in theaters watching it. And I remember just being kind of like this forgettable but ridiculous movie. I'll get into how I felt the second time I saw it. But what did you think? Have you ever seen it before? Or was this your
I
first
saw
time?
it in theaters as well. I went to with a friend of mine. It was in 2013 when it came out. To one of the theaters with like a bar inside.
Oh, that'd be a
And we're
good
like,
one.
this movie's probably gonna be a little bit ridiculous, so we had a few drinks.
It was like a
before we saw
dine-in
it.
theater or something?
No, it wasn't in the dine-in. It wasn't like the iPick. Yeah.
Okay, good, because those are super expensive,
yes.
which means you spent like $25.
$65 to see Hansel and Gretel,
Witch Hunters.
which they only served candy. No, but it was the kind that have the bar like in the snack area before you go in, and so we had a few drinks before we saw the movie, and it definitely probably made it a hell of an experience.
Now this movie it is still a lot of fun. I had fun when I was rewatching it, but I definitely felt like I wish that it was either campier or gorier. I feel like it walks this fine, weird middle ground, and I would assume just from several other movies that have come out where things like this happen, I would assume it was studio involvement that kind of squashed a little bit of that, or too many cooks in the kitchen, because the same guy who did this did Dead Snow, which is a Nazi zombie movie. Mm-hmm. I haven't seen it, but I hear it's awesome. Mm-hmm. And but it definitely seems like there's some tinkering where I remember when it was first coming out, they were debating if it was going to be PG-13 or R, and you can kind of tell because most of the gore is added in, like none of it's really practical gore. It's pretty much,
it's all post gore,
like CGI gore, except for when it like splatters on him when the guy explodes from the curse of the worms or whatever.
That was pretty great.
So what did you think revisiting it a second time? What was your...
I think I probably enjoyed it the first time.
Yeah.
More.
Yeah.
Than I enjoyed it the second time. You can't help but watch it and just look at Jeremy Renner and go, Jeremy Renner, what are you doing in this movie?
He had just done The Hurt Locker.
And
he was just nominated for an Academy Award, and then his next career choice was Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters. There you go.
He did. The movie was originally released from March of 2012, right? And they had to delay it 10 months to accommodate his appearances in the Avengers. And so this movie came out. I forgot this came out after the Avengers.
So he had done The Hurt Locker, one of the best modern war films. You know, it won Best Picture. He was nominated, and then he did The Avengers, one of the biggest movies in history, and then Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters.
Jeremy, what is your next project going to be? Well,
I play a witch hunter named Hansel.
It's called the Hansel and the Gretel.
Now, I can see.
Yeah, go ahead.
I can see why reading the script you'd be like, this is going to be a lot of fun. This is going to be
100%.
ridiculous. And there is like, I like how dry it is, but I just feel like because it's not super gore, it doesn't. I don't know, but it's still really fun. So I'm so torn on this movie.
It's really fun to watch. Here's what I'll say about it that I noticed. Even when there's a lot of things happening, there never really feels like there's particularly much at stake.
Yeah.
You
like
don't see the 11 children that are missing.
Until
the parents
the very
are
end.
Particularly upset about it.
You never see parents being like, oh, please save our children. It's just kind of like, burner!
Yeah.
The way they portray the townspeople just makes you go, fuck these people. Let them eat their kids. They're
Honestly.
all assholes. They all look like Trump fans. Like, burner! Sorry, whoops, I got political here.
It's okay.
Burner! Get it out of here! Build the wall! That's just like, they seem like residents of a Trump rally.
It's definitely like the kind of town where you look at it and go, maybe we should just let this one go.
We should just let the witches overrun this one.
Yeah.
Let the blood moon and all the plot points that happen. We'll get into it, I promise.
Yeah.
But all the plot points that happen when it's like there's the blood of the 12 moons. They figure out everything so easily. It's like, wait a minute, it's a blood moon. Look at this, the blood of the 12 moons. There's 11 children missing.
Look at this graph that was printed from a computer.
What could this mean? There's 11 children missing, and there's the blood of 12 moons. Oh, 12 children.
Shit.
Yep. It's
Also, one kid born in April?
Come on.
The whole town.
The whole town. Just one kid born in April.
I don't know.
How does that happen? But then when there's scenes where, like, they unleash on the 100 witches with the random Gatling gun, wherever that came from, I'm getting ahead of myself. We should start with the plot to this movie
my Lord.
in under 3 minutes. I have a feeling it might melt our brains trying to remember and connect everything, but we're going to try it anyways because that's how much we care about our fans. We're going to do this. Are we ready in the booth, Zach? I'll take that as
we're ready to go.
We're ready, yes. In 3, 2, 1, camera, take it away.
All right, we see wee little Hansel and Gretel. They're tiny little tots. They get pulled out of their bedroom by their father into the woods. People are screaming. Things are happening. What the hell is going on? They're there for a while. After that, they leave. Papa, Mama, they don't come back. They end up going in the woods and they find a house made of candy.
Yeah.
They eat a house and then they walk inside.
And they start getting really sick from it. And then the creepiest witch ever's there.
Yeah.
And the creepiest witch ever is like throws him in this weird kind of like Ewok village cage and it's like, eat! Super mean, and they just keep eating, and then she's getting the stove ready for him, and Hansel's like crying, and Gretel she throws the witch into the oven. They shut it, and she goes, "Hot enough for you now, bitch!" And if you have the unrated cut, the witch's eye explodes all over the oven, which is awesome.
It's pretty great.
And then they cut to you get this like cartoon animated thing showing that Hansel and Gretel grow up to be witch hunters, and you also she tries a spell on them, and it doesn't work. You're like, "What's this going on?"
Yeah,
and
it goes right through them.
Yeah, and so then they grow up, and they're in this town, and the next thing you see, there's this beautiful. She looks kind of like Kate Mara.
She's a redheaded
Kate Mara.
Yeah, she's a redheaded Kate Mara, and everybody's trying to burn her because they think she's a witch, probably just because she has red hair, was my theory.
Yeah.
Gretel shows up behind her. She says, "Let the woman go or I'll blow the sheriff's brain all over these hillbillies."
Yep.
Hansel comes up and says, "You better not hurt my sister." They let her go. They do an inspection.
Yeah.
She's not a witch, allegedly.
Allegedly.
And the sheriff is pissed because he doesn't want them to be
He's
there.
super pissed. And then there's this whole bureaucracy of like, we're gonna hire them, and they go to this bar, and they're all talking about witches' piss and figuring out where to go next. They end up going into the forest where they find one of the witches, who I call Firuza Balkwitch because she has the spiky hair. And you start to learn that Famke Janssen, a.k.a. Jean Grey, and Firuza Balkwitch, and then Isla Fisher with a German accent witch. It's not really Isla Fisher, but she looks kind of like her.
It's Isla Fisher.
And they're all planning this with these 11 children to open up the blood moon and the portal to hell and let all the witches... The witches will never be able to be hurt by fire again.
Yeah.
And anyway, so they go out in the woods. They find Firuza Balkwitch. They trap her after this big, ridiculous long chase. and then they take her back, and then Famke Janssen and Isla Fisher witch come in and raid the town.
after.
They find the 12th kid.
60 seconds.
Oh God! Here they get Firuza Balk witch back. They fuck everything up. Gretel gets lost, and Hansel has to go find her. What happens to Gretel in the woods?
Men come up to
Rapey
her
McSheriff
and
man?
try to maybe do something terrible to her.
I call it Rapey McSheriff scene.
It's a Rapey McSheriff scene,
He
but
just
then
is like, I'm going to do this now. Edward
comes to the rescue.
The troll. Yeah.
Yes, and beats some heads in.
Yeah, smashes
Jesus.
every head.
I don't know what happens after. Oh, yes, I do. Hansel and Gretel, they fall underground. They in a witch's lair that's actually in their childhood home. Full circle.
Oh, God, here we go, 30 seconds. So then they find out that this is their childhood home. They find out where the witches are going to meet. I forget how, some loose plot point.
See.
They go there with the good witch. Turns out redheaded Kate Mara
20
is actually a good
seconds.
witch. They go there. She's going to help save Gretel because Gretel's hostage. Gretel just keeps getting taken hostage. There's a Gatling gun. She shoots all the 100 witches. And then Jeremy Renner's fighting. They're all shooting. All the witches get killed. Blam, blam, blam. And then they
He
cut off
injects
that.
himself.
Then they fight. Oh, and then the good witch and the bad witch fight. And then they end up killing the bad witch by shoving a shovel in her face and cutting her head off. And then they walk off and they're all a big team with the troll and everybody else.
Boom!
Oh.
Hansel and Gretel, witch hunter in 3 minutes.
And we forgot about the super fan who's completely useless in the movie. The super fan who's
Benjamin.
like Benjamin. Come on. A useless character.
Die.
He's he's just like, hey, I read all about you. You're super awesome and I really like you. And then his character has such inconsistent reactions because there's a moment in the bar where one of the guys they send out a hunting party. We forgot to say this in
the sheriff sends out a hunting party.
The sheriff sends out a hunting party. They get destroyed by the witches, just killed, slaughtered.
That may be one of my favorite scenes, actually.
And then, she makes him eat like a bug, and you're like, what the hell is that? And he comes back, and he's like, they're all gonna, the witches are coming or something. And then he explodes like in Monty Python and the Meaning of Life.
Yes, like
just another dynamite.
grab me in a bucket.
Just splatters everywhere. And the kid reacts by being like, awesome. And then later on, when he sees the witch's head chopped off, he barfs. And it's like, wait a minute, that was gross to you, but having a man's intestines fly all over you was awesome?
Maybe it was because you're like, that's unreasonable. Even when it happens, you go, that's not actually... I mean, it happened, gang, but...
Yeah, and in fact, Gretel's reaction to that, she explains what it is. It's the curse of the worms or something.
Curse of hunger for crawling things.
The man explodes all over Gretel, and of course, Hansel knew this was coming, so he shoves Benjamin in front of him and just keeps drinking, and then this is Gretel's deadpan reaction.
The curse of hunger for crawling things. I fucking hate that one. That was awesome.
And there he is. That was awesome.
That's awesome.
I fucking hate that one. You just hear this loud because she like throws an organ or something off of her. It's quite a ridiculous. The curse of hunger for crawling things. So let's start with. There's so many plot holes and so many ridiculous things, but let's start with the beginning, where the candy house I felt looked like a leftover prop from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Like the movie feels almost like Tim Burton light.
It does, and I will make a note on all of the props. All of the props, the guns, the Gatling gun, the broomsticks, all of them. I don't know if they were there. They all seem kind of very fake. Yeah. Right. And which is kind of awesome in a sense because
the guns are ridiculously awesome.
They're shooting witches and killing them with what looks like a toy.
Yeah, and what exactly? It looks like you bought it at Toys R Us, and then the one bullet it comes apart and then becomes like buckshot, but in like a really futuristic kind of transformer-y way. Yeah. And maybe that's just the bullet time slowing it down for us, but it looks very much like
yeah.
It's so ridiculous.
But with the house, I was just thinking, I don't know that there's ever a situation, just advice for people out there.
Yeah.
If you walk up to a house, even if it may look like candy, probably don't eat it.
Here's the thing. Even though that was candy, it didn't look, very edible. It looked like fondant, that really, stiff cake icing. I only know this because my wife bakes a lot.
Yes.
Where it looks pretty, but when you eat it, you're like, it just tastes like I'm eating plastic.
It's like a stale vanilla wafer.
Yeah, like a stale vanilla wafer.
Yeah.
And on top of that, even as a child, if my parents just abandoned me in the woods and I come across a house made of candy, I know this is based on the fable, Grimm's fairy tale or whatever, but I wouldn't be like, man, look at all this dirty ass candy. Think about it. It's been in the elements. It's in the exterior of the house. It is a filthy.
There's black mold on that shit.
There's black mold they're eating with that fake fondant vanilla wafers.
You think that would be the place where they stop, though, right? So they try the candy. Clearly, it's been out in the dirt and it tastes nasty. So they go, you know what? It's nighttime. Let's not be insane. They go in.
Yeah. That's what they do.
I kind of wanted them to die in the first scene.
Yeah.
They deserve it.
Then I guess we wouldn't have a movie, but
I know. But then they come back, and that's why they're able to
as zombies.
Yes,
zombie slayers. No, but my favorite. You can tell because there's the rated cut and the unrated cut. Because I was trying to pull sound clips from the DVD, and I realized it was the rated cut, and they changed the line the girl says just by adding "bitch" into it. And the way this little girl says this line is hilarious. It's almost like she was like, I feel like the director had to be like, okay, I know your mom said you're not allowed to say this word, but just say it for this one take. And she's like, I don't know if I should. And he's like, it's fine. Just say it for this one take. And then this is the delivery, hot enough for you now, bitch, when the witch is in the oven burning alive.
Hot enough for you now, bitch!
Hot enough for you now, bitch!
But the greatest thing is the shot, it's this long pause as she's just staring, and then it's almost like I imagine off camera the director going, now, Gretel, hot enough for you now, bitch!
Hot enough for you now, bitch!
You know, what's interesting is I went to Hooters recently. I don't go there too often, but when I do go there, I try and get the spicy wings or whatever. And I was like, what's the spiciest wing you got? And they were like, well, we have hot wings or whatever, and habanero. And I was like, oh, that's not going to do anything for me. So I was like, give me the hot wings. And I try them, and I'm like, these are weak sauce. There's nothing. Come on, give me something spicier. And so then they douse it in habanero. They put everything on it. It's just like peppers, just like the little seeds. So it's like, and the second I bite into it, I feel like my lips turn purple just from being burnt by this spice. And I'm coughing. Later on, it's burning the other end. And the waitress just looks at me and she goes,
hot enough for you now, bitch!
And I say, touche. Completely
yes.
false. I can't handle spicy food at all, but it was a fun little improv.
When my waitress said that, I said, the curse of the hunger for crawling things. Clearly, that's just what you
I
have.
hate that one.
No, when I was watching the... it's very weird. Weather people on the news are getting very out there these days.
Yeah.
I was watching
Dallas
it the other
Raines?
day. Dallas Raines. This is the guy who said this.
Yeah.
So I'm watching the news.
Spray Tan
and
McGee.
He's saying everybody is complaining. We have El Nino going around. He's Spray Tan McGee. We have the El Nino going around.
Yeah.
It's windy. It's cold. And then he announced next week's forecast. The 7-day came up and he looked at it and said,
Hot enough for you now, bitch!
and Californians were like, yeah!
I actually used to, when I used to go to the clubs, this is a God's honest true story. When I used to go clubbing, which was very rare, but when I did go, I would be kind of the nervous white guy at the bar like this, really hoping a girl would come up and dance on me. Because it's interesting how, I feel like if I grew up in the 50s, I would have gotten along a lot better with dating.
Because
I could have been at a sock hop and instead I grew up in a time where it's like, yeah, let's fucking dance, let's dance. And already sex made me super nervous, let alone fake fucking someone on a dance floor in public and getting a denim chafed grinding boner. Anyways, so this girl finally comes up to me at one time when I was out with some of my friends.
Don't wear jeans.
And I'm like, don't wear jeans. And I had Wrangler jeans on, so they were even tighter. I didn't know they were Wranglers. I just bought them at Ross.
Damn it.
So should toss a football around with my buddies and my Wranglers. So anyway, Brett Favre style. So I'm getting. She's starting to dance on me, and in my head I'm thinking, this is kind of hot. Then I don't know if she read my mind or not, but I was like, this is kind of hot, but it's not crazy or anything yet. And I'm not sure if she read my mind, but she starts pummeling me like Mike Tyson punch-outing my crotch with her ass, just slamming away to the point where it's hurting. It's I feel like I'm gonna get groinal bruising, and she just looks back at me and she's like,
Hot enough for you now, bitch!
and I was like, actually, it's too hot, it's too painful. Everything about that story is true except her saying "hot enough for you now, bitch." That's God's honest truth.
I believe that.
I was getting
You wore
slammed
Wrangler jeans?
The Wrangler jeans is sadly true, but the one time I actually had a strange girl grind on me, it was painful. I don't know where she learned these moves. But it was like she was trying to, like a bull at the saddle ranch, trying to buck me off the dance floor.
She was in your same shoes.
Yeah?
Overcompensating.
That's what she was.
That's what was going down.
I don't know how to do
Is this how this works? I wore Levi's, and somebody made a comment about them not fitting well enough. So I went and put Wranglers on. I came out of the room and I was like,
Yes.
and they said no.
Yeah.
So I changed out of the Wranglers.
I love that. That was a good sound clip.
I like that sound clip.
Who knew? So then
The curse of hunger for good sound clips.
And then I really there's so much. I'm so torn with it. I'm so torn with this movie. So fans of this movie who had requested this, just know that I do like this movie. I own the friggin' thing. But that doesn't mean anything. I own a lot of shit. But the thing is, it's like, I almost wish if this was a Tim Burton movie, or if this was like just a little more specific, a little darker, a little like it just feels almost like a generic gory, ridiculous movie instead of being dialed into when it starts off, it has this kind of whimsical feel to it. It feels like Tim Burton, like Danny Elfman almost with all the like cartoon backstory where you see them growing up as witch hunters, and I'm like, ooh, this is gonna be fun. And there are moments of that kind of like fairy tale brilliance in here, but then it just gets bogged down in like weird plot choices and kind of half-baked ideas.
Yeah, I think so too.
Rapey sheriffs. That's the thing.
By the way, I think that is why, though, it is a guilty movie pleasure. Because we accept these.
Otherwise, it would be.
But I do agree. I think another thing for me was just stylistically.
Yeah.
There weren't a lot of, in terms of the way it was shot and stuff.
No.
There wasn't a lot happening.
No, it was shot very kind of just like, here we go, here's a shot. Here's a shot. It wasn't like,
there's a witch here.
Here comes creepy stuff, sneaking up. There's no tension built. There's no like scares. But when the action does happen, it's like that whole sequence where they're chasing Firuza Balkwich through the woods. And it's hilarious. And
she runs around like an ape.
Yeah. She's.
I love the way she like smashes her hand through a tree and it just explodes into shards.
See, it's moments like that I feel like all the action stuff I really like in this movie.
I did
it's
too.
the downtime in between where I'm like,
yeah, no, 100%.
You know,
100%.
The whole chase sequence was great. Smashing the tree. Then I forget how they end up actually getting her, trapping her. How do they do that?
A fake boy. The fake boy that they use a pumpkin for, and a
really long wig.
And what's that thing called? Not a record player, but with the horn.
Yeah, it's a phonographer or something like that.
Yeah. Phonographer. It's a phonograph. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. But it's a phonograph.
So they use a very portable record player.
Yeah.
And
I don't know where
help me, Daddy, help me.
And she gets captured because of that.
Yeah.
And the thing is that I feel like then when he has the crazy brass knuckles on, I wish that's another thing where it's like, I wish that they would have just been like, hey, we're gonna punch the shit out of this woman in this scene. Maybe Gretel should do it instead of Hansel. Yeah. Because it's a little weird watching. Because it's kind of a badass scene, but at the same time you're going, like our kind of overly PC, misogynistic, like afraid of misogyny minds go, you're punching the shit out, even though she's evil.
Well, but to your point, I think when you have that knee-jerk reaction, because there's not really a whole lot of Gretel doing that. If it was a more even balance, and he was, and then she did one right after, that would be different.
Yeah.
Also, the brass knuckles takes it to a different level.
Yeah.
If it was just punching,
it's not just brass knuckles. He pushes a button and they flip out,
and it's a claws.
Yeah, like claws.
Yeah.
That's where you're like, I wish he had punched her a few times, and then Gretel came in with the brass knuckles.
Yeah.
Because they don't let. That's my biggest gripe about this movie is they don't let Gretel do enough fighting. She has the cool crossbow that flips out like a literal cross. It's like a machine gun crossbow. I don't know how it reloads that much, but and then
witchcraft.
Like that whole sequence when the witch's raid is so awesome. And but why don't they let her fight more? They keep making her. Like, first, she gets taken hostage by the sheriff and his dopey deputies that want to just do bad things to her, and then the troll comes and saves her, and then she gets. What is that? Is that the end of the world?
They're coming.
Is that 10 Cloverfield Lane happening right now? We're in a bunker recording this now, right now. And then she gets kidnapped later by Jean Grey Witch, and you're just like, come on, let Gretel do more fighting.
Yeah.
I don't get it, and that's the thing that always bums me out, because I like seeing women kick ass, and because it's sexy and it's fun, and it's like, you have Hansel and Gretel, and she's in like this corset, and she's got this badass crossbow.
I wonder how
Let her
conscious
use it.
that was, though. I think
Yeah.
most of the time, I don't know. I think it's 50-50, but I wonder if somebody brought that up in production.
You had to at some point.
Right.
Right? And also you're like, oh, it's a brother and sister fighting duo, but they spent half the movie apart
Maybe it was because
of shooting schedule.
all it was could have been shooting schedule, but also if you think about the opposite end of the stick, all of the bad people in this movie are quote unquote female, even though they're witches. So maybe they think, okay, they're the females, it's like way outnumber the male.
So we
Maybe
might as well
that's
just
it.
we might
So
as
you
well
might as well
just
just beat
punch
their shit out
might as
of
well
them.
just punch a girl
Yeah.
in the face with claw
I don't know.
brass knuckles.
I just like to disclaimer.
I do like when they go to when Hansel and Gretel are first introduced.
Yeah.
The sheriff is saying, "We have to burn this witch. We're going to burn her."
Yes.
And the whole town's like, "Burn her at the stake. She's more attractive than all of us. Fuck her." Because she is redhead Kate Mara. She's beautiful.
Way more attractive than any of those.
Exactly.
Hillbillies.
Yeah. Gretel shows up, puts a gun to the sheriff's head, and says, "This one, the hillbillies line, Zach. This is the intro to Gretel." Which is another reason why I'm like, why isn't she kicking more ass? Shoot. Oh, is it not labeled that? Let me see. It's the
Let the woman go.
Let the woman go. My bad.
Let the girl go, or I'm gonna blow your sheriff's brains all over these fucking hillbillies.
What? I like the reaction. Like they don't react. They don't react like when the gun goes to his head. It's when she calls them hillbillies.
Yeah.
Which at that time was hillbillies even a word? What time period is this?
I
by
think
the
this
way?
is just a time period at some point. And that's why I don't know, because they say, I don't. It's
not very-
like
there's
people
no-
didn't say fuck a lot back then
Yeah,
either. I don't know.
That's the thing. This movie needs to be more specific, and it
Yeah.
would have been. Right now, it's awesome. It could have been like a cult movie classic if
Yeah.
it was just a little more specific. But that.
I do wish that the rest of the movie featured Gretel in this way, though.
Yeah, that's why I'm expecting her to kick ass. When her first line is that she's gonna blow this sheriff's brain all over these fucking hillbillies, you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'd be crazy, you know.
They deserved it.
I'm trying to think of something that doesn't involve a political joke. Right?
The only thing I can think of is no, that's bad.
No, we're gonna skip this
I'm not
one.
gonna do that one.
Let the girl go, or I'm gonna blow your sheriff's brains all over these fucking hillbillies.
Here's what I'll say.
Badass.
I'm from the Midwest. I'm from Missouri.
Uh-huh.
It wouldn't surprise me if somebody's actually said that here.
Yeah,
There.
I could see that.
I'm just saying.
I could see that.
I'll just say that.
I could see that. Yeah. We'll move on from that one. Here's the. So then, one of my favorite. This is one of the lines that I think actually works in the kind of camp factor of it. So it's weird. Like we've said, it exists in this world where it's like half camp, half serious, half not really specific. Or that's three halves. That doesn't make sense. But you know,
okay.
fractions
1.5.
fractions aren't my strong suit. But the witch's piss line I really like because they're in the bar and Jeremy Renner's trying to hit on this bar wench as he calls her, a bar wench, and he says this.
No, but a witch's piss, it's the worst, you see, because it actually burns the ground. It's like acid. Although in small doses, it does cure poison ivy, insect bites. I'm getting way off the subject, aren't I?
I don't understand how medically that makes sense. If it burns the ground like acid, and you have poison ivy or an insect bite, wouldn't it burn your? It burns
the poison ivy off of you.
It burns the poison ivy and your skin, but
Yeah.
your skin heals back with no poison ivy.
Maybe that's
just
it.
3rd degree burns.
I
don't know how that. I'm interested to see how that works.
I have the same problem with the supposed potion or whatever they're working on to make witches not burn.
Yeah.
Because it kind of works.
Yeah, because right now it works until it doesn't. Then there's no real.
So same kind of deal.
Like it works temporarily, and then she's like, "Let it stop! It's burning me!
Yeah.
It's burning me!" And you're like, "So you've made a potion that works for about 35 seconds."
Yeah. Which, by the way, that's it for most cases. I mean, I can hold my hand above a flame for a bit too.
Why don't they just wear more flame retardant clothing?
I was gonna ask that.
That'd be a lot easier than kidnapping 12 kids and doing the blood moon.
Or just pee on each other.
Just be on each other. If it heals. I wish. Here's the thing. If you're gonna say a line like that, I want to see it pay off later in the movie. Come on, you can't give us some crazy image of a witch pissing and it burning the ground, and in a movie like this, not pay that off visually.
Yes, so Gretel should have gotten poison ivy when she when they fell into the layer. There should have been a witch's toilet where they scoop some out and pour it all over.
Or
make Hansel do that.
Maybe they're trying to get. Oh God, never mind. It almost turned into an R. Kelly joke. They're trying to get the kids free. I might as well just say it now. They're trying to get the kids free. They can't figure out anything, and they use witch's piss to burn the ropes. Oh, yep, that got R. Kelly real fast.
Oh man,
I had to say it once I said it.
Yeah, the sugar thickness.
Once I mentioned it, it's oh God, the sugar thickness.
Yes.
So.
These are the silliest names for things. We have the sugar sickness. We have the
Which is
curse of
diabetes.
hunger for crawling things. I think that the sugar sickness, diabetes, and the curse of hunger for crawling things, I think these were just like temp words in the script.
Yeah, where it's like, I'll come back to it. I'll come back to it and think of something better.
Yeah.
Oh shit, you guys are filming that scene today?
You know what?
Yeah, it's fine. Nobody cares.
Fuck it. Curse of hunger for crawling things. Hey, can we put worms here, Bill? No.
Nope, crawling things.
No. Sugar sickness.
Sugar sickness. Yeah, so what? In case you missed this plot point, fellow GMP fans, there's basically because... You're right over there, Cameron?
I have the sugar sickness.
Because Hansel ate so much candy in the beginning at this scene because he was forced to eat so much when the witch yells at him, which, by the way, I would eat that much candy too if I was yelled at like the witch yells at him. The witch yells eat pretty voraciously to the point where you would just keep eating. I didn't use that word properly, but it's fine. She yells like this. Wait. So she has a knife to Gretel's head, and she says, eat. Eat! Tell me you wouldn't. I would eat the whole fucking house. I would be scared.
I definitely would have.
I would have witches pissed all over myself with that, man.
I would have witch pissed myself.
And I wish there were more witches that looked like her. Because the opening witch is so awesome and like Evil Dead.
Yes!
And you feel like
With
you're...
like two hairs on her head.
It's so good. And then they kind of make the other ones look almost too... Not attractive, but like...
But
I wanted
more like
them to
a
look...
goblin kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
that first witch is... I mean, don't get me wrong. When the like 100 witches show up in the end, there's a bunch of cool different variations of witches they find.
Yeah.
And I actually thought while I was watching it looks like a Gwar concert from the 90s. It looks like cosplayers from a Gwar concert show up and they're like, we're gonna get the blood of the 12 moons. I'm pretty sure that's one of the Gwar songs too.
Blood Moon.
Blood Moon. Yeah, it's... When I was a kid, though, with this whole eat situation, I remember my mom was really adamant about me clearing my plate. And she would... My dad, God love him, he's a great guy, not the best at cooking steaks. And he would cook steaks well done. Like, it was like a boot. And I would sit there chewing away at it, and I'd have a gallon of skim milk that I keep refilling to try and just choke down this boot leather that I had to eat. And they'd get so frustrated at me. And one time I was just trying to eat it, and my mom looked at me, and she said... And I was like, what's up, Mom? That startled me. I thought it was going to be the beginning of the clip. That genuinely scared me.
That really scared me. And my mom said, Jesus.
Oh, shit.
God.
Oh, man. I think actually I saw...
I've had a similar experience to that, though. Yeah. I went to grade school, and Salisbury Steak Day.
Yeah.
Steak again.
Yeah.
It was very much the boot, but the cafeteria lady would come out and go...
Oh, yeah. I actually...
and then I would say, it's cold. And she would say, usually. Well, is this hot enough for you?
It's all right. I didn't even know where you were going with that, Zach. It's okay. It's all right. So... what's funny though is that I think in Hell's Kitchen, it's Gordon Ramsay.
Gordon Ramsay, yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that the slogan for the new season is just it shows a little teaser and then he just looks in the camera and goes, and that's it. That's it. That's all they need to do to sell that show.
There's a restaurant in North Hollywood. It's spelled EAT. When you walk in the door, they go, "Hello there, welcome to." Can I get your table?
And you just go, I'm eating everything. I'm sorry.
Christ.
I'm so sorry.
And then your food is cold sometimes. And you say, I want it warmer. And the cook brings it back and says,
Want it for you now, bitch?
Yes! Zach. Yes.
We'll be right back.
We'll be back after a break from our sponsors. Do you have a witch problem? Witch's piss getting you down?
Just piss
man.
all over yourself.
I think I have the. Did I record the Trolls Are Extra line? I think. Is that in there?
Trolls are extra.
Yeah. See, there's moments like that I fucking love, like this dry kind of ridiculousness where, who is this guy that she's talking to? Do you know that there's this like long-haired, scraggly dude who's showing them a map that
Jackson.
They barely.
He's introduced at some point as an expert.
They barely.
Why is he there?
Barely establish him.
Yeah.
And you're just like, then he gets killed off very quickly, and
Yeah.
you're just like, what the fuck is he here for, other than to just bounce exposition off of Hansel and Gretel? So it's not just.
That's exactly what he's
so
there
it's
for.
not just them going, hey, here are plot points to lead us to the next thing.
Well, and they need some kind of companion for them to die.
Yeah, of course, and they can't
So
kill
that they
off
don't have
Benjamin, the nerdy guy.
Yeah. Well,
They should have.
they should have.
He's useless.
Oh no! Some witch's piss spilled on Benjamin.
That would have been great. Think about it. If Benjamin gets kidnapped and a witch pisses on him and melts his face off. This is the Hansel and Gretel I want to see.
Hansel and Gretel piss hunters.
So the trolls.
Benjamin, I just hate you so much.
Back in the '90s, trolls were really popular. The little
with the hair.
with the little
Yeah.
hair, and I had
Belly
some
buttons.
I had some, and there was a bully at school, and he would always take my lunch money and stuff like that. And one day I had the trolls on my desk, and I tried to hide him from him when he came over. And I was like, I gave you my lunch money, that's enough. And he looks at me and he just goes,
Trolls are extra.
and I'm like, come on, man. You can't just
Yeah.
add in extra. You're stealing from me.
Yeah.
I should say trolls are extra from me. In hindsight, that story made no sense.
I'm okay with the way it went.
I'm okay with that one, too.
Yeah, I actually. So this is a little embarrassing.
It's okay.
But
It's okay. It's a safe place.
like 2 weeks ago, I went to the club in Silver Lake. I know that sounds weird. A club in Silver Lake.
Is there such a thing?
There
is.
is.
That Booty LA?
Yeah, it's similar to Booty LA. But speaking of Booty LA, I wore my boots, wore my Wrangler jeans. I was ready for
Have
a
anything
night
from
on
Burlington
town.
Coat Factory?
I got them from Burlington.
Okay.
Yeah, 2-for-1 special right now.
You would
Check
think
your
that
local
we are
list.
sponsored by Burlington Coat Factory.
That's right. But I was waiting at the door, and the girl I was with just walked right in. And then when I was about to walk in, the bouncer said, $5 cover. And I said, why? And he said,
Trolls are extra.
I was like, hey, asshole.
What?
Yeah, so I went and cried.
Yeah. Yeah, I would do that too, man. That's why I don't go to clubs.
Went and cried in the bathroom.
Trolls are
after taking
extra.
Witch's piss.
He called you a troll.
He called me a troll.
That's super fucking rude.
I know.
Oh man, screw that guy. So then let's get back to the plot, I guess, if we want to. Sure. And I love the shot where I'm just gonna call her Jean Grey Witch because I
Just call her
forget
Jean Grey
it's
Witch.
such a cool
I
name.
called her boss ass witch in my notes.
There you go, boss ass Jean Grey Witch.
Yeah.
When there's that really awesomely shitty CGI shot of her throwing fireballs onto the town and it like blowing up and they're just firebombing the whole
Yeah.
place. That shot to me, see that kind of stuff I can forgive because I love how cheesy and ridiculous that
I do
is.
too.
It's super fun. And then that whole sequence where they're raiding the place and then he gets his sugar sickness and has to inject himself.
Yeah.
And does Jackson die in that scene?
Jackson dies. Yes.
Yes.
He dies in
does
the
he get
house
killed?
that boss ass witch goes into. She just.
She makes him
points
shoot
her-
himself.
That's right. Yeah.
'Cause he has a gun
points
at
a
her.
wand and then she does this with the wand.
And then it makes him shoot himself.
Which, by the way, that's in that same scene or in that same time, whenever that was happening. They go and break in to steal another kid, and they make
God.
the kid shoot his own mom.
Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff I want to see more.
Yeah.
Now I don't want it to happen in real life.
No, but that's the kind of stuff where it gets a little dark and you're like,
And
oh
she goes
shit.
right before.
Yeah.
Oh man,
That was shocking.
Yeah.
And they they don't show it. They cut away, but you know
Yeah.
it happens and you're like, duh, fuck. Wow,
Yeah.
these witches mean business.
I like how, well, I don't like again, but it's interesting how the witches were doing more of like making other people shoot themselves or hurt themselves
Instead
or
of
blow
doing-
up from eating
Yeah.
worms instead of doing it themselves.
Yeah, they're just really, it's the path of least resistance for these witches. They just
Yeah.
like to just get stuff done the easiest way.
Yeah.
They're like, these are the top management level witches. So
That's right.
They let everybody else do their, everybody else would like
Everybody
cook
else is
and
pissing everywhere.
just throwing kids in ovens, trying to eat them, fattening them up with candy, giving them the sugar sickness. I tell you that. Also sounds like a dinosaur yell. We've had 2 weeks in a row.
I think they slowed that down for Jurassic Park.
Yeah, Jurassic
the new
World.
one,
The new dinosaur was that slowed down.
Yeah.
They didn't give any royalties to the woman who played the witch, though, which is really shitty.
She,
Real big bummer. So then I love the fact that they set up this, and by love, this is another point of the movie I don't like, but I really, like I said, all the action scenes I think are fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
I would have loved even more of that. The Good Witch, you know she's a good witch from the beginning. They set her up, and then they sort of... The thing that bothers me the most, this is my least favorite scene in the movie, is where Gretel's getting the shit beaten out of her, and they keep cutting back and forth to Hansel and the Good Witch, like, making out and skinny dipping.
Yeah,
and we're supposed to be like, oh, look at this cute little romantic build-up. And then cut to Gretel about to get legit raped by the sheriff, and then back to them putting their clothes back on after having a romp in the stream. And you're just like, what?
Yeah, it's a little
Wait
fucked
a
up
minute.
that, like, Gretel's love interest was the troll.
Yeah.
That kind of sucks.
Yeah, and that you could have figured out another point in the plot to have this romantic scene, but to cut back and forth
just
makes
mean.
it so jarring and so like he's getting kissed on by the Good Witch, and then Gretel's getting punched in the face, and it's just blood everywhere, and it's brutal. So it almost makes her scene that much more fucked up, because you're like,
Yeah.
Hansel's just getting his fuck on right now.
But was he?
I don't know.
Because it wasn't...
I don't know what happened, I guess.
It was kind of like, let's get naked and sit on each other, but not really do anything.
Yeah, did they just like cuddle?
That's kind of what it looked like.
It looked like it.
I mean, think about that
Yeah.
compared to the sex scene in Desperado from a few weeks back.
Get
I would have liked to
outta
see some
here.
"Wah!" in the, I don't know, maybe that was a little much, but
Maybe it's,
she's a
But
witch.
then Edward's sitting there going like, and you're like, uh-oh, shit, this troll's gonna fuck some people up.
Yeah.
And so my least favorite scene in the movie is followed by one of my favorites, which is when Edward the troll comes in and just fucks up these sheriffs.
Yes!
And you think, oh, maybe he's gonna mess up a couple and the sheriff's gonna get away. No, he's just flat out smashing dudes' heads left and right. He just doesn't...
effortlessly.
Yeah, it's just like...
That's what I love about it. It's not
so
like
awesome.
it's not like taking a I'm trying to think of a good example. Like something as a human that you would grab really tightly and then all of a sudden it explodes. It's like,
Like a heart-
if we were
like
to
an
go
egg.
up like an egg.
Yeah.
It's like if we were to go up with prickly hands and just touch a balloon.
Yeah.
That's
That's
what
it.
it looked like. It's like, holy crap, and then it just kind of casually steps on the sheriff's head.
Yep.
So tasty.
Good. And I like the fact that Edward, from what I could see, was pretty much all practical. You know, like,
Yeah, I think he was.
Unless it was fantastic CGI. But I like when creatures in movies are practical. I like
do too.
The new Star Wars did that. A lot of Peter Jackson stuff does that,
Mm-hmm.
and it just looks cooler, even though it's not like. They can't do as much as the CGI characters can, meaning like run around and like jump off. They can still fill in a CGI body, whatever, a motion capture thing for that. But it just it's more tangible when
Yeah.
the troll is like wiping Gretel's face and
Yeah.
like putting it's really there, and
It's
it's
so much
cool.
easier for actors too, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the troll is in front of you.
Edward the Troll is my favorite character in
Scream
the
at
movie.
it.
He's
Me
my
too.
favorite character.
Me too.
He has-
his name alone. I was like, what's the troll's name gonna be? Like
Edward.
Regularius or something. It's Edward.
He's adorable.
Yeah.
He's like the most likable character in the movie, because
think so.
You find out that he serves witches and he just kind of has to do their bidding, and so you're like, wait a minute, why did he save Gretel? Oh my god, they're part witch is the
Yeah.
big reveal. You find out through a flashback that the mom was a witch, and that's why the dad dragged them out into the forest.
Yeah.
And then the mom got burned at the stake, and the dad was hung, and it was pretty brutal. You
So
know?
she was a white witch, and so was Mina.
Mina, yes, that's her real name. Not redheaded Kate Mara.
Redheaded Kate Mara. This was my biggest question, right? Mm-hmm. They spend all of the movie essentially
Yeah.
trying to capture half white witch Gretel
Yeah.
to take her heart out.
Yeah, why not just find...
And they were going and trying to kill Mina, who is full white witch.
Yeah.
And
Why,
that was my confusion.
why not just take full white witch's heart out and then
Yes.
kill Gretel and Hansel afterwards?
Yes, like the Famke Janssen, she kills Mina. She could have just taken her heart right then.
Yeah. Well, no, by that point, the kids were already free. The whole plan was kaput. The son had risen.
That's true.
So maybe she...
Well, put it in a to-go bag and freeze it till next blood moon.
Yeah, just freeze it till the next blood moon. They live long. Come on.
Deep freeze it.
The Edward has a similar moment to the witch in the beginning where he's very adamant about Gretel drinking. And,
yes.
And he looks at her and he gives her this like leaf full of water that looks like a ceramic bowl, and he says this. Because oddly enough, how all my friends sounded on my 21st birthday, just every shot they give to me, I'd be like, guys, I don't want another Irish car bomb. They'd be like...
And then the responsible friend saw you drank too much and said, you really need to...
Yes, Zach! Oh, we cannot top that. I'm not even going to fuck with that on. Man, that was so
job,
good.
Zach.
So good. Set that up. Slam dunk.
Fast finger,
man.
Zach.
So...
All right.
So long story short, we should get to the end of it. The end of it's my favorite
Yes.
part, where all these 100 witches show up, and they're all like, it's like this witch rave, and they're all just gonna be like, yeah, we're all gonna be fireproof. We got these 12 kids in the heart of Gretel. Fuck you, world. We're gonna destroy you. And there's all these creepy, like weird. They look like they just. It looks like they raided Guillermo del Toro's like basement. And we're like, yep, take that creature, that creature, that creature. And there's some really cool witches that show up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck yeah, this is going to be a throwdown like no other. And it kind of is.
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit. But really what ends up happening is you think, this is what's so crazy, you think Hansel's going to sneak up or like do something. He just walks up and he's like, hey, witches, fuck you.
What
he
up,
like
motherfuckers?
he shoots Isla Fisher, Russian witch, in the head and explodes her head. And then you're like, that was your plan? Dude, what?
But like as a precursor to that, whenever Mina was helping him bless or curse or whatever the guns, how funny was that scene when all the guns and bullets are in a wheelbarrow and they're just like pouring water on it, like.
It reminds me of the scene in From Dusk Till Dawn when they like carve crosses and all the bullets. That like when they lead up, they have all these guns. You're like, oh shit, this is gonna be amazing, and they set up all these traps. And for the most part, it is. I think budgetary-wise, what did that say? Okay. What was put the question back up there. I'm going to try and answer it. So budgetary-wise, I think they just probably, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say that, it's not from the show, just kidding. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt that they didn't have enough money to do a crazy, bunch of fight scenes. If I could have this movie remade, I would have, every witch get a throwdown, or 5 witches take on Gretel and her have this they don't really get to have this badass fight scene. It's just more like Kate Mara witch, just this Gatling gun appears because they had it, I guess, in the wheelbarrow, and she's just kills most of the witches.
Yeah.
And then
nearly all of them, yeah.
And then a few that get away, that scene's awesome, where they go through the wire, the razor wire, and it just makes it doesn't just cut their bodies up. It makes their bodies explode into a million pieces. It's so good.
I
saw
was
that in
so
3D
happy
and it
with that.
flew out at you in 3D, and I was
so happy with that.
That's what I wanted more of.
I really wanted.
That.
When I was watching that, I was like, oh, I know what's going to happen, even though I saw it before. I just forgot about this scene. I was like, okay. Gretel is going to figure out she's half witch, right?
Yeah.
And there's going to be a flying fight. She's going to get on one of these broomsticks.
So awesome.
And they're going to start going at each other in the air, too.
Nope.
Man, missed opportunity.
I think that I would assume that a lot of it is budgetary, but
sure, yeah.
But yeah, it's just when you have 100 witches, you want this throwdown to end all throwdowns, and it is awesome. It is a fun ending, but you just sit there thinking, what could have been?
You want it to be like. We did Olympus Has Fallen. The scene in London Has Fallen.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's kind of a one-shot wonder, and you just start going through and mowing people down.
How good would that be? If it was Gretel, why didn't Gretel get to realize her full power? And she gets to do the crossbow thing, but her power never escalates to awesomeness, to the Neo moment from the Matrix.
Yeah, and a cooler thing for the crossbow. Instead of her crossbow shooting 6 people at once, would be to have her shoot in front of her, shoot behind her, shoot under her leg, grab a branch off a tree, hit that guy, shoot the guy,
man. But it does end with them going back to the house, and it has. We got to wrap this up in a few minutes here, but it has the one of my favorite quotes in the movie, which is "Don't eat the fucking candy." So they go to the house, and Benjamin's back because he's been helping, sort of. Not really. He just kind of stands around.
He's like, yay!
He doesn't do a lot. He's kind of their cheerleader. He's their guy that sells their Hansel and Gretel CDs after at the
merch in the back.
They go merch in the back. Benjamin's selling it, and so Jeremy Renner deadpan says this: "Eat the fucking candy." I love it.
Whatever you do, don't eat the fucking candy.
We actually had a house down the street from us that was kind of a creepy guy growing up. There, I don't know if he was like. I don't know if he was legitimately creepy or if it was just like the mythology of the neighborhood made him scary. Mm-hmm. But every year, all of us would, we would skip over his house, and when there was a new kid trick-or-treating with us, we'd just look at him and be like,
whatever you do, don't eat the fucking candy.
Back in the 80s, we thought razor blades or needles were in candy. There was all these,
That's right.
like, who the fuck would slide a razor blade in candy?
Yeah, I don't know. Or witch's piss.
Or witch's piss
Right
in
in your
candy.
bucket. Did you ever see the unrated version of Willy Wonka?
Yeah, no.
When they walk in the factory,
yeah.
and he just turns them and says,
whatever you do, don't eat the fucking candy.
I was pretty shocked.
I was shocked,
This
too.
was a kid's movie.
The R-rated cut of Willy Wonka is fantastic.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. So they unload on all these witches, and then you get the great moment where he chops off the head in the end. And the witch, you also think that maybe there's a more complicated way to kill the head witch, but you just chop her head off with a shovel, basically.
I really thought that they were going to figure out some kind of,
something.
Throw something in her eyes,
Nope.
burn her arm. She has one arm left. Chop that arm off. It's down to like her torso and her face. Burn all of that. It's really.
We should write the sequel to this. All right, folks. If you think Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters 2 should be written by Cameron and I and come out next year, start throwing a Kickstarter together and we'll make it happen.
Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters 2 Pith Hunters.
But just so you know, diet is very important and we all should stay healthy. So until next time, just make sure you remember to eat.
Whatever you do.
Fuck! Damn it! Oh.
Stay hydrated.
Oh. Yeah, just remember, guys, if you're out at the bar and somebody tells you to, just say, no, sir, I'm driving. Unless you're Ubering home, then drink all you want. Yep, that's what I do. Well, this has been Hansel and Gretel this week. It's been a blast. This movie is hilariously ridiculous, and I think the sequel written by both of us will be even better. We just need about, $14 million to make it? 14?
Hey, I'll do it for 13 and a half.
Yeah, 13 and a half sounds good. Until next time, where can they find you, Cameron?
At The Only Camshaft, Twitter and Instagram, at Guilty Movie Guys on
that's
Twitter.
us. We doubled in followers since last week.
We did.
Let's see if we can break 100 before next week.
Yes.
And you can find me at the Ben Begley, and also the movie my wife and I wrote at Funhouse Mass. It's the Funhouse Massacre. Comes out on DVD and video on demand June 7th. But if you could do me a huge favor, if any of you were going to buy it already, no pressure, but if you were going to buy it already, don't wait till it comes out. Pre-order it on Amazon or Scream Factory, or at the very least, if you don't have a ton of cash, if you want to put it, if anybody still has the Netflix where you can order the DVD copy of something, just add it to your DVD queue, and it just boosts us up so much. It boosts us up to the front page of Netflix, the front page of Amazon. So it would mean a lot to me. So if you're gonna buy it already, pre-order it, and if you have Netflix, it's free and costs you 5 seconds of your life. Just put it in your Netflix queue. The Funhouse Massacre, funhousemassacremovie.com, and also that's about it for now. Yeah, until next, we don't know what we're doing next week, but it's gonna be awesome. So until next time, what is your guilty movie pleasure?
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, Christian Harloff, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of its owners or principals.